All right, so I'm outside of a 2019 Honda Accord Sport. This is going to be the 1.5 liter model. Things that are indicative of the Sport. The first thing I'll point out is the 19-inch wheel. So a little bit nicer wheel look. On the back, you're going to notice that you do have the dual chrome tipped exhaust. Moving over, you're going to also have a deck lid spoiler. So something I will point out indicative of this vehicle too. Now this is a Steel Knight Pearl model. This is the only color blue you can get on the Sport. If you're looking for that different blue, it's going to be on the remaining models. So just so you can get a quick idea, you'll see it has a smoked grille, unlike the car sitting next to it has just a classic chrome grille, right? So that way you can see base model sitting next to Sport. What am I getting exterior wise moving up to this car? Now let's start at the back of the vehicle and I'll show you a couple things. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the trunk for us here. All right, so pop the trunk. This one's a little bit dirty, so pay attention. Sorry about that. Right here is gonna be your backup camera. Now moving into the trunk space, you'll notice you do have a 60-40 split, so my releases are gonna be right here and right here, so it's a little bit different from the base model, which is a single fold down. I still have tie downs right there if I need them. My carpeted floor mats come standard in the car. Now below that is gonna be my spare and all my accessories that I would need for that. So full size spare as far as height, just not full width. So not a donut, just not the full width of a spare. Now I'm gonna point out this right here. This is gonna be in case you ran out of gas because it is a capless tank. So let me pop that open for you and I'll show you. It's connected to your door lock, so if I unlock, pop that, pops open for me. Now you'll notice I have a fuel cap right here and it pushes back on me. So that's where I would need it if I was using a gas can. Now if you're just regular using gas, just stick it in and you're good to go. This is connected to my door lock, so as I mentioned earlier, I can lock the doors, and now that's locked too, so it won't open, right? So let's move into the back seat of the car. The Sport model only comes with one color interior. It comes with a black interior, and it's a hybrid. So you're gonna see it's cloth down the centers, and then it's gonna be leather along the sides. So it's bolstered on the sides and leather down the center, and then in the front seat, same thing. Leather on the back, leather on the headrest, cloth down the center, and I'll show you more on the front here in a second. But just so you can get an idea for what the interior looks like. So let's move into the front of the car. All right, so this is a manual transmission model. The automatic will be the exact same. It does have a powered seat, so if you're moving from the base model up, you are gaining this powered seat with lower lumbar support. So backwards, forwards, up and down, adjusting the backrest is right here, and then your lower lumbar support. So let's hop down in the car and show you a couple things here. So you'll notice it has the graphite finish across the dash and the inlay and the doors. Excuse me. It does have the aluminum sport pedals in the vehicle, so that way you can see what's going on from that standpoint. I'm gonna crank it up here so we can show you a couple things. So push button start in the vehicle. Foot on the brake and the gas, or excuse me, foot on the brake and then the clutch in this car to get it cranked up for me. I got my parking brake on, so I can show you a couple things. All right, so on the left side, my window controls. So auto up, down on my driver and passenger, my window locks, my door locks, and then my mirror controls, right? Jumping down below, you'll notice I do have a trunk release button right here. Now down here on the dash, vehicle stability assist. This works with your traction control, so in the event that I go into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel has better traction. This is always on and running. I gotta press and hold it, and it'll turn it off. And then you'll see a warning up here when I do. So I'm gonna turn it back on, same place that warning would say it was turning off. Now above that is gonna be some of my Honda sensing features. So if I press that, you're gonna see it pull up and ask about road departure mitigation and collision mitigation braking. Road departure mitigation is if I drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give me an audible alert, and then it'll actually shake the wheel to be like, hey, wake up, pay attention. Below that, collision mitigation braking. This is set up to where if I'm looking like I'm gonna rear end another car, first it'll give me an alert in the dash, it'll give me an audible alert, and then it'll actually start to apply the brakes to prevent the accident. And to scroll through these, all I'm using is this tab right here, and I'll go over a little bit more of that in a second. So that's two of the Honda sensing features right there. Now, above that, your trips. I can jump over and press that. You'll see your trip pop up, so you can see me toggling through down there. Hopefully you can see it. So right down there. So I'm gonna reset by pressing and holding the trip button, and I'll go over to B. We'll reset that one too, right? Now, next to that is a little tab right here that I can push, and you're gonna notice that's gonna affect the brightness here and over here. So that way you can affect this. In case you're driving at night and you're finding it's just too bright for you, adjust it, make it a little bit better for yourself. So on the steering wheel, the first button I want to press is the home button, because what I'm going to show you is that this side is digital, this side is analog, right? So if I press this, it's going to pull up all my menus here. So from here, I've got a tachometer. If I just want the classic look, if I want to jump down one, I can go to my range and fuel. This is where I can get how many miles are on this tank of gas that I have, current and previous trips, that sort of thing. Below that, speed and time, that's related to your trips, audio, whatever audio I have going. It's kind of nice. And then I can toggle through any of those options by pressing up and down on the tab right here, right? So I'm just scrolling up that scroller. I guess you would call that a scroller. So that's how I can do this. Now, jumping down one more, phone. If I had my phone connected up, be able to pull up my Bluetooth stuff right there. Below that, traffic signs. This was a really cool one. So what it does is it uses this camera up in this black box to detect not only the lines on the road for a different feature, but it also detects the road signs. So if you get caught in an area and you're not sure what the speed limit is, this is going to help you out, because every time you pass one, it's going to throw it in there for you. So just keep that in mind. You have this feature. Take advantage of it. Now below that, driver support. This is going to be related to some of that Honda sensing stuff and the distances you have set and whatnot. Driver attention monitor. I'm not going to go over this too much, but if you're using all the Honda sensing features, you're not really touching the steering wheel, the gas, the brake. A lot isn't being touched by you, or barely. Eventually, it's going to start to alert you just to make sure you're alert and aware of what's going on. Now, maintenance. This is going to be your oil life. Right now, you can see it's set to 100. When you get down to 15% oil life, it's going to give you an alert, and it's going to show you a code right here, A1, A2, B1, or B2. You can look that up in your book, or you can Google it. I promise you, this has been with Honda for years, and it'll tell you exactly what we're going to recommend to you. So if you're concerned that your dealer is trying to upsell you stuff or anything like that, take a look and see. That way, when you go in, you already have an expectation for what they're going to bring up to you, right? Or if they don't bring it up, you can bring it up to them. Now, down below that, safety support. This is some of those Honda sensing features that I just showed you. So I access that from here or down here with this button, right? So I'm going to jump back over, and then my warnings, if I had a door open, if I had the trunk pop still and I was trying to move, this would give me alerts there. Now, my left and right button is going to switch between any of my presets. If I have like AM pulled up, or if I have USB going or anything like that, it'll adjust there too. So if I jump over, you're going to see it toggle through my presets. So you can see it toggling as I press over, right? Easy enough. My volume controls are right here. My back button. So if I was in the menu up here and I was like, oh man, I selected the wrong thing, I can press back and back out of that menu. So that's just what's going on right there. Down below is my Bluetooth control. So to answer a phone call, to hang up a phone call, and then to use voice command. So that's just how that function works. This will also give you access to Siri or OK Google if you're using the smartphone connections setup. So this would be Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, right? And I'll go over that a little bit more here in a second. Moving over to the right side of the steering wheel. So this is going to be some additional Honda sensing features. So if the main button is on, you're going to see ACC and LKS up there in green. So that's what's flashing at you. ACC stands for Adaptive Cruise Control. LKS stands for Lane Keep Assist. So let's go over Lane Keep Assist first. Lane Keep Assist is going to use this button right here. If I turn this button on, it's going to use a camera up in this box to detect the lines on the road. So you're going to see those lines appear. So that's what's flashing at you right now. When you're going over 45 miles an hour or under 90 miles an hour, it's going to actively try to read the road. Once it has, it's going to fill those lines in solid. From that point, now if I start to drift a little bit out of my lane, it's going to correct and try to keep me centered in my lane. So if I get distracted by kids, dogs, coffee spilt, whatever it may be, this is going to help prevent me from drifting into a car next to me. Now the next one is, Adaptive Cruise Control. So I would get up to the speed I want to set, press set. Now where it says ACC off up there, that's where you see the speed that you've set it at. And then from there, I can set the distance it'll keep between me and cars in front of me while that cruise is in action. So if I am going 65 and I come up on a car going 55, it's going to keep the designated amount of space that I create using this button. When I press it, you're going to see boxes appear. The more boxes, the more space it keeps between me and that car in front of me. So that'll give you an indication for, in that one, you're just going to have to fill out to get a feeling for what spacing you feel comfortable with. So if I come up on a guy, he's going 55, it's going to slow my car down and keep the designated spacing. And then when I get out from behind him, it'll take me back up to the speed that I wanted, right? Now, if you're saying, hey, I just want to use classic cruise control, I don't really want to mess with all that, no big deal. Press and hold this button right here. It's going to switch over and say cruise mode selected. Now it's just a classic cruise control. Set, cancel, resume right there. If I want to switch back, press and hold, and I'm back to adaptive cruise control, right? So you have the access to both. Now on the left sid, you're going to see I do have auto on-off headlights. They're turned on right now. When you move from the LX up to the Sport, you do gain fog lights. So that's one of the additions that you're getting by going up a model. And then moving over to the other side, I do have my intermittent windshield wipers just pull down to use it, right? So easy enough. That's pretty standard in all my vehicles. Now, moving over to the touchscreen. Show you a couple quick things and walk you through some buttons. The first thing I want to point out is all this is customizable. So I can press and hold, and then it'll pull up what would be, customizable mode, and then I can start moving buttons around. So if I want something in a certain spot, I like to have certain things next to each other, I can do that. Even up here, I can do that, right? And then once I'm done, press done. And I can hide buttons too. If it's something I never use, I can just hide the button. I don't need it, right? So pretty cool in that sense. So FM, I'm just going to quickly touch on this. It's a standard setup. Find the station you want. When you press and hold. Now that's my preset. So that's how to set up a preset. Nothing to it. You can handle that. Phone, if I need to connect up to Bluetooth, touch here. If this is the first time you've ever done it, it's going to start you through the prompts to say, yeah, I'd like to connect the phone and move forward. If you're adding a secondary phone or a third or a fourth, go to settings. From here, you're going to go to connections because we want to add one. and then Bluetooth, because that's what we want to do. And then you're at that same screen I was just in. Hit connect. It's going to tell you to turn your Bluetooth on, hit continue, and move along. So that's how to connect up additional phones to the car. I believe you can connect up to 6 phones to a car. So if you got you, your wife, your kids, whoever, you got a lot of people you connect up. Trip, so if I want my trip info, 288, how many miles on with this tank of gas, it's that same info that I scrolled to over here and had. So if I want that range and fuel, select right there, same info there is what I'm seeing here, just 2 different places I can view it. Now moving over, Bluetooth audio, this is just gonna allow me to connect up and stream whatever audio I have. So that's how I would do it. Smartphone connection. So this is where Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come into play. So if I plug my phone into the USB down here with the picture of the phone on it, it's going to allow me to access a lot of the apps off my phone. So in regards to navigation, now I have navigation that's streaming through my phone up onto this touchscreen that I can use touch play with everything. Whenever the turn-by-turn directions through the speakers, the whole 9, right? So if you're using, really it's both phones now, you have access to Google Maps, you have access to Waze. If you're an Apple-based user, you have access to Apple Maps if you love that. So a lot of different ways you can use navigation. I really like this in our vehicles because I don't want to pay for map updates. I don't want to pay $100 every time my city grows and I have to get new streets, right? So your phone's forever updating. Just keep in mind you are using your data. So hopefully your data plan is set up accordingly. Settings on the car. So I'm going to show you a couple things here under vehicle. So if you go to vehicle, this is where I can get to door locks, window controls, things of that nature. So door lock controls are right here. Auto door lock, it's set to right now when you hit 10 miles an hour, it'll automatically lock the doors. So a couple different options there. Getting out of the car. When you open your driver's side door, it'll then unlock the remaining doors of the car. So I can turn that on and off here or set it to when the ignition is off. So just a couple different features you can play with right there. So just keep that in mind if it's something you want to mess with. And I'm going to back out of that. Oops. And there's some other features in here you can look with as far as lighting and how long lights stay on and different features like that. But I just like to show the door locks just because that's usually one of the first things I get asked about. All right, so jumping back out of that, SMS text function, this just means it'll read text aloud to you. If you have Siri running or OK Google, a lot of times you can press and ask Siri to send a text to this person and send one back too, because it's not going to allow you to text while you're driving. But there are workarounds to this. USBs, so if I had a bunch of music saved to a USB, plug it in right there, pull up some music and listen to it and rock and roll, right? Moving the screen over, AM, I don't think I need to explain that too much. System updates, exactly what you think. My clock, if I want to jump to it with a screensaver that I can load an image to back here, or if I need to adjust the clock, I can do so. So just keep that in mind from here too. I believe you just want to jump over, yeah, touch it, and then it brings up the options as far as faces, type, and day and time if you want to change it to military time or whatever you want to do. Honda Link, I encourage everybody to download this app. It's also a website, HondaLink.com. On HondaLink.com, what you can do is see all the different options for your car, right? So each trim level is going to offer different options, like being able to start the car from your phone, being able to handle the door locks from your phone. Some of these are subscription-based, but some they're going to give to you for a year for free to even figure out if it's something you want. Even if you had a base model car, you're still going to at least get maintenance reminders and recall notices on the vehicle through Honda Link, right? Additionally, Honda Link is set up to where if I've connected up my phone via Bluetooth to the car, if I was to get into an accident and my airbags deploy, Honda will call my car. They will check to see if I'm okay. If I do not answer, they're going to assume I am unconscious and will call 911 for you. That runs for the lifetime of the vehicle. It's 100% free, just part of owning a Honda. So keep that in mind. It's a pretty cool thing. And then I do have a compass on the car, so kind of cool. Outside of that, that's the touchscreen breakdown for you. I'll throw it in reverse just so you can see a backup camera real quick and kind of go over that. I've got 3 different views of my backup camera. You can see my backup camera needs to be wiped off. It's pretty dirty under this tree. So I got a wide angle view, I've got a normal view, and then I've got one aimed straight down. So if I'm backing up to another car or anything, I can see exactly what I'm coming up on. So 6 inches from my car, the room I would need for moving in and out if we were parallel parking, right? So I'm gonna jump out of that screen. All right, moving down to your AC controls. It is a dual climate control. I have them synced right now. So if I adjust mine, it adjusts both. If I unsync, now if I adjust mine, it's separate from the right side of the vehicle. If I press auto, now whatever temperature I set, it will keep in the cabin. It'll turn the fan up and down and adjust accordingly to make this happen for me. So I'm gonna turn that back off. You already saw down below, I have a 12-volt power outlet and my USB. This is a stick shift in this model, so it is a 6-speed, and then it does obviously, you just push all the way over down for reverse, in case you're wondering how you get in reverse in my 6-speed. Econ mode, if I press this, it will improve the gas mileage of the car. It'll let you know on with the green leaf right there. You can see how it works though. It's gonna take away some of the acceleration on the car. It's gonna affect your AC or heat, depending on which is on. You're not gonna get quite as much power out of that, so it's gonna dim those, and then shut down some of the electrical systems on the front end of the car, affecting those things. So you're going to give up some of those things to get increased gas mileage. So that's how that works. Now, button below that, brake hold. Brake hold is set up where when I turn it on, you'll see brake hold right there. If I am driving in stop and go traffic, it's just kind of nice in the sense that when I come up, what it will do is allow me to come up, come to a complete stop, leave the car in drive, take my foot off the brake, and the car's not moving forward, right? So that's what this feature does. So that's how it works. And then I can, when I come to another complete stop, take my foot off the brake. Now I'm going to have to keep my foot on the clutch. So in this car, it's a little bit different from an automatic. If you're an automatic, you can take your foot off and just relax. So that's how this feature works. So that's what's going on from this standpoint. Below that is your parking brake. To use it, just put your foot on the brake, lift up. LED lets you know that it is set. You'll see brake right there in the red. So that's how you know it's on. And then to release it, put your foot on the brake, press down on the trigger. It's now released, right? So I'm going to turn that back on since I'm in a manual. Down below, you'll see I have a deal right here for drinks and some tiny rubber bands in there for some reason. It flips open. I do have some additional storage, another power outlet, and then a change holder right here. No moonroof in this model. You'd have to climb up one model to get that, but I do have standard sunglass holder, standard mirror controls, that sort of thing. So that's what's going on from this standpoint. Now, this is a sport model, so as I mentioned, you do have that graphite inlay along the doors and dash. You do have the cloth down the center of the seat, along with the leather along the edges, along with a leather steering wheel, leather shifter, leather armrests as far as center and sides. So that's what's going on in this vehicle. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can always call me at 512-443-4300. You can always reach out to me via the YouTube channel, just comment on it, or you can email me, the letter J, then Fuller, my last name, so jfuller@howdyhonda.com. Thank you much.